Hi there, this is Edan from Kinetic Body Therapy, here at my practice in New York City at the Assemblage and Nomad, here to talk a little bit about fascia, the connective tissue structure in our body that is this fascial system, this really multi-dimensional system of connective tissue with collagen, microtubules. There's different layers and dimensions of this web, this fascial web within our body that's right below the skin and throughout our entire body. So the fascial web is everywhere in our body, and I'm going to demonstrate now by explaining a little bit more about this fascial system and showing you a video called Strolling Under the Skin, which you can find right here on YouTube. So definitely check out that video and listen to the narration there. I'm going to be providing my own narration and talking a little bit about the fascial web and how I work with it using myofascial release methods. Specifically, John Barnes' myofascial release work is what I do. So let's take you over to the video right over here. So specifically what they're showing here in this video right now is how things glide. Like they're showing how the fascial web is there to contain all of our muscles and our bones and everything in the body, and it's contained in this sort of like gelatinous substance, and it's almost like the web of a spider web, right? It has this tensegrity, so there's a balance there where we have a lot of durability and a lot of tension that's being held in this system, with this system, and so it's really durable and really elastic, right? So we have an elastic component and a ground substance component. There's different types of, fascia and different types of the web. So here they're just kind of demonstrating how there's different actual fractal patterns and geometric patterns of how the fascial system and fascial web works within the body. Now I'm going to actually move forward to the rest of the video to demonstrate to show you a little bit more of just how the fascia looks like specifically here. So as you can see here, this is the ground substance of the fascia, right? So now within this ground substance, you can see that there's these microtubules of collagen, and this is like a web. It's literally a web. It's right beneath the skin. It's throughout our entire body, and as you can see here, it looks like a spider web sometimes, right? So sometimes it looks like a spider web. It's a sheet of tissue that is like aloe vera gel. And if you open up the aloe vera plant, you will see how there is, if you can put your hands into the aloe vera plant and you can pull on the gel, almost it becomes like stringy and ropey, and that's exactly what's going on with the fascial system. It's the same type of consistency and quality of the actual gel. So what happens is when we work with myofascial release is that I'll literally place my hands and compress into the fascial system, which is right below the skin, and even beneath the skin, between the skin and the muscles. And by applying pressure into this system, all these strings and ropes of and restrictions in the fascial web and fascial system will begin to depressurize and to release. So all that happens within a myofascial session with me is a very gentle application of pressure into the fascial system, and then beneath your body, within the body, what's happening is the system is starting to unwind and release all the pressure. And so all these little microtubules of fascia are going to start to melt. Okay, you're going to get some sort of a melting that happens where the heat, because when I apply pressure into the fascial system, it causes a piezoelectric effect, which in other words means pressure electricity. So this pressure electricity, like kind of heat that's being built up from the pressure of my hands, the gentle pressure of my hands, is going to cause this system to start to melt, and the pressure within the entire system will start to release, and there's going to be this decompression, a full body decompression of the pressure. Now again, this is the fascial web and connective tissues. This is very different than the thoracolumbar aponeurosis, which is in the lower back. It's very different than the plantar fascia in the foot, because when you see diagrams of this type of fascia in anatomy books, it looks like this white kind of like really dense connective tissue matrix. And while it is, when it's somebody who's dead, and they've done these cadaver viewings where they'll slice up like a cadaver and a human body, and they'll actually show it to be this white dense kind of tissue that's really like cotton candy. When we're living and when we're alive, that cotton candy and that white substance is actually a clear gel that you can see here. So this is what fascia really looks like in the body, in the body of a living human. So we want to be working with it in a way like we would be doing with someone who's alive, and we don't want to think of it as this dense tissue, but instead this fluid system, which is definitely really, really dense and requires lots of time and energy to unwind that system from the inside out. However, what we can do is, with a very gentle pressure into the system, what can happen is these tissues can start to melt, and the pressure, which can lead up to 2,000 pounds per square inch of pressure on pain-sensitive areas, the pressure can release, in fact, but we need to be holding into the system for a minimum of 90 seconds in order for there to be any real lasting result. Because in order for us to get a lasting release in this ground substance of the fascia, we need to be applying pressure for a minimum of 90 seconds. Otherwise, there's going to be no change. It's not going to actually change in the long run, because this system is a very dense tissue system, so that it doesn't allow our body to tear, right? It contains all of our organs, and everything in our body is contained within this system, and it's really dense. But as fluid as it is, in order to get like a lasting result, we need to be applying pressure for a minimum of 90 seconds. And usually I hold a release for 5 to 15 minutes. Within that 5 to 15 minutes, these fibers, these microtubules will start to soften and melt. And the only way to really get lasting results with this system and to get it to melt is to be holding way beyond the 90-second mark. Otherwise, we're just going to be doing massage and compression, and that's essentially what foam rolling is, and regular massage and yoga and stretching. Unless we're doing something like yin yoga where we're holding for a minimum of 5 minutes, we're not really going to be getting any lasting results with this fascial web and this fascial system. So as you can see with this brilliant video here, which they've somehow managed to get underneath the skin of a living human to see what this fascial web looks like. It's remarkable. It just blows my mind, and it's funny because it actually reminds me a little bit of the gel-like kind of like gooey goo that you see in those alien movies, right? So if you see those like alien movies, they always have like this really gooey stuff. That's like the fascia. And so that's kind of how I like to think of it. And another good movie kind of idea that we can take is like from the movie Terminator, right? So many doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, even massage therapists like myself in the past, when I didn't really know so much about the fascial web, we kind of treat the body like it's a robot, right? And it's sort of like the Terminator, who's like the robot. So everything is like very linear, and like our muscles kind of do this, and the bicep muscle does a contraction in this way, and it releases that way. And so with the fascial system, it's very different, right? It's not this linear kind of system, and we're not robots. We are not robots. And so I think it's really, really important that we realize that we are more like the liquid kind of Terminator, you know, that like silver metallic like Terminator who was fluid. We're more like that fluid rather than this robot and this robotic type of Terminator. We are fluid, and essentially we have to be treating ourselves as though we are fluid, and we have to enhance more flow with more movement. The more we move our body, the more we move our bones in space, the more that the fascial web will be hydrated. We hydrate the fascia with movement and with heat, and movement causes heat. It actually causes our body to warm up. It causes the circulation to be enhanced within the body. And so showing you over here in this video, they're actually talking about the tensegrity model right now. And so how everything is just balancing out. So what the fascial web does is it contains all these bones. So these like, you know, diagrams here are essentially like, you can compare that to our bones. And so what the fascia does is it contains all of our bones in our body and allows the bones to move in this way while still maintaining the integrity of the structure, right? So the fascia is going to contain all the bones, the muscles, the organs, the fluids. Everything is going to be contained within this gelatinous substance that seriously looks like a spider web, right? And so if you have any questions, I encourage you to leave a comment below, or put a comment below this video. If you have any comments, anything you want to say about this, anything that you want to share about this information, please do leave a comment below. If you're interested in learning more about the fascial system, I will be putting more videos on my YouTube here, so please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Your time is very valuable, and I know that. And so thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, this is Edan from Kinetic Body Therapy in New York City at the Assemblage Nomad. It's funny because like this is the room that I use here at the Assemblage, and this painting right here on the wall, actually it's not even a painting, it's actually like a piece of art, a work of art, which is it looks like it's yarn, and it's actually like, you know, some sort of a, let me see if I can get a little bit closer so you guys can see. There you go, give you a little more light in the room. So as you can see, this kind of looks like the fascial system a little bit, which I think is so cool. I think it's so cool that we got this beautiful piece of work of art here on the wall. And you know, this is essentially like all the layers of the fascia, right? So it's